Tom, if you could be known for just one thing, what would that be?
Oh, starting pitcher on the New York Yankees, but I think that ship has sailed.
Okay, what's the greatest lesson in leadership you learned as an entrepreneur?
That it's people over deals. Surrounding yourself with the right people is more important than surrounding yourself with more deals if it's at the cost of, picking the wrong partners.
What personal characteristic has been most pivotal to your success?
I would say kind of my determination. I kind of have this like blind lack of fear, which sometimes I could maybe dial back a little bit, but I just when I set my mind on something, there's just nothing that's going to stop me from getting
I
there.
love that blind lack of fear. I feel like that's a very entrepreneurial traits. A lot of people on this show exhibit that traits. Let's shake it up a little bit. I've got some random question cards. Just tell me when to stop
Stop.
cutting the deck. Okay, top cards. What remains undone that you've wanted to get done for years?
For years? It's a good question. Well, I don't know. I've now been self-employed for going on 4 years, so I'm proud of that. But I feel like I'm still at the beginning edge of that journey. So I don't know. Right now, the focus is getting the next deal, getting the next deal going. So I have 4 years wanted to get into the world of hospitality. So that is the next step that I'm focused on.
Very love hotels. Can you name a book that's helped to forge you as a leader and as an entrepreneur, and tell us why?
Um, I mean, specifically as a leader and entrepreneur, that's a good question. Obviously, there's the classics, Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Obviously, those books are. I'm not the first one to quote those books. Those two come to mind as books that any entrepreneur or any real estate investor really should focus on learning. But honestly, I think without naming a specific book, I try to read a lot of books about meditation, mindfulness. Sometimes I read a book about Buddhism or other kind of Eastern religions and methodologies, and collectively those books and the lessons from ancient teachers, and you can learn a lot from those books, even if it's not like a book about real estate investing. Those sort of mindfulness related books have given me a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I love the diverse reading interest. I think that's very valuable. Personal growth is huge. Now, can you name one tip or trick that investors can implement in their real estate business today?
One tip or trick. Um, Honestly, let's see. I mean, there's a lot of different directions. I don't have like a hot tip, but networking, it's all about who you know. It's part of the reason we're talking right now, George, right? I put
That's
myself
right.
out
We
there
were
to,
networking just last week.
yep, I
Or
put
was it
myself
early
out
this week? I forget.
all of the above. I put myself out there to a mutual connection of ours.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, you should really talk to George," and here we are on this podcast. And maybe somebody listening to this podcast will reach out, and I'll lead to a relationship with them. Like I
That's
said
what we're
before,
hoping.
it's people over deals, and you know, an extension of that is at the end of the day, we're in an interesting bubble, this bubble of real estate investors and entrepreneurs, and it's an interesting cast of characters. A lot of eccentrics, a lot of like anti-establishment people, a lot of like lone wolves, and it can be a little challenging sometimes to get everybody work together because we're all people that don't want to have a boss, and we're all people that want to be in control, kind of type A personalities. And at the end of the day, like when you pick your partners, I know for me at least, I really want to pick people that I could go spend a weekend away together with in the mountains, or go not just get a beer with, but really enjoy their presence, because you're basically marrying this person for 3, 5, 10 years. And it's just so important that you really enjoy being friends. I think is important, because if that stuff, if those
Yeah.
relationships start to fray, the business related decisions and challenges become bigger and harder.
Yeah, I
So
like the friendship aspect there because I think that choosing the right personalities, knowing who you are, and getting the right group of people together is very important. But I'm also reminded that I think it was Rockefeller that said that it's better to have a friendship based on business than a business based on friendship.
That's a great quote. I did not know of that quote, but I was going to say something similar, that I don't mean you should only do business with your friends. I
Right.
just mean that your partners should be friendly, and you should be
Yes,
the type of,
absolutely.
your values should align. That's really the most important thing.
I knew that's what you were saying, but it was too good. I had to throw that in there.
Good. I'm
But I'm
glad you
glad
did. I
that you
like.
mentioned about networking because that's exactly what I want to ask you. If we want to do that in a more explicit way, hopefully somebody does reach out to you or me or both through this podcast as a result of today. But is there anybody specific? I don't mean like a person, but sort of a business function that you're looking to get to know better, or you're hoping to reach out. You trying to look for example, say limited partners, or maybe you're looking for financial contacts. Is there anybody that you are particularly looking to meet out of today?
Great question. I mean, listen, the easy answers is limited partners, right? Everybody's always looking for
Right.
investors. I'm giving that as an answer, but that's not going to be my only answer because that's too easy. Everybody can say that. Everybody's always looking for investors. Like I mentioned before, kind of my second prong right now, I am looking to join up with some good people, doing deals, active, maybe a small group, people that need some bandwidth support, looking to expand their team, but maybe not ready to, or not looking to hire somebody full time. That's not the type of role I'm looking for. But if you're a hard money lender and you've got a great pipeline, but you can't keep up with the demand, and you need an analyst to help you, underwrite more deals. That's something that I could slot in and really provide a lot of support in, pretty you know, not that too steep of a learning curve because I have a tremendous experience underwriting. So yeah, like I said, kind of putting myself out there like I did and got into this industry a few years ago, and just trying to do it again and surround myself with good people. And I think I can bring a lot to the table.
All right, awesome. Now, can you sum us out with a quote to help forge our listeners as leaders and entrepreneurs? I know you had a great one a minute ago. I wish I could repeat it about you don't just do business with your friends, but it's important that you be friendly with the people that you do business with, something like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think another one, I don't know why this one just popped in, but how about this? You don't have to agree in order to accept. And in partnerships and relationships, business, personal, that can take you far, where it's okay if you don't agree with somebody, but it's really important to accept them for their feelings, for where they're coming from. That takes a lot of empathy. And I think empathy is a trait that some of the really it's hard to be a great leader without a strong sense of empathy, because you have to work with people to get stuff done, especially on these big deals.
Absolutely. And I think that business partnerships are great. They really test the person. Surety, as you're mentioning, it tests your ability to grow, communicate. And like you said, it's like holding together a marriage for 3 or 5 or 10 years in a day and age where a lot of marriages don't even last 3 or 5 or 10 years. So very, very significant. Now, I want to make sure though that before we leave, that people know how to reach out to Tom Briccetti. So carrier pigeon, internet, smoke signals, what's the best way to get in touch with Tom?
Yeah, any of those ways work. I am also, as far as I'm aware, the only Tom Briccetti in the world. It's a unique
Okay.
last name. So if my name's on this episode, you can find me basically anywhere: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Or you can shoot me an email, tom@beartoothventures.com. I'm open for networking, so hit me up.
I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience with our audience, Tom.
George, it's been really great. I appreciate you having me.